And what's going to happen is we're about to start a new series. This series is going to be a Q&A series. See, on daily basis, MMBS gets loads and loads and loads of questions, and a lot of people have benefited from these questions and answer these Q&As, and it's been able to just change the way they're living their life. People have come out of depression, people have come out of suicidal, people have come out of relationship issues, people have come out of different situations. And I tell you that this Q&A is going to be valuable to you. This series is about to start soon, and stay updated. I'll definitely be posting more and more. And so what this series is going to be all about is going to be you putting out there your questions. Matter of fact, there's been tons of you that already sent me through some questions for me to answer through. We're going to use the Bible as a user manual as we go through to answer question bit by bit. And don't get the Bible confused. This is not a religious book, I guarantee you. This Bible is an instruction manual that's going to help us to live a successful life, to live a prosperous life, to live a grateful life. And we ain't gonna do anything religious here. We're gonna learn how to live an effective life. And I guarantee you, if you understand the Bible as a user manual instead of a religious book, you get the most out of it. You will live an effective life, a life of result. That's what we're aiming for, right? That's what we're aiming for, a life of result. And I guarantee you that you should join us and be a part of this journey, because great things is about to happen for MNBS. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Our YouTube channel below, description. Also our Facebook page, where we're going to be posting most of our content, and that's where you can send us a message with your question. We're definitely going to keep it anonymous. We're going to keep it on the low. But when we start the series, we're going to go through these questions one by one, put a discussion board, and actually break it down. Why is that certain things happening? We're all learning. I'm learning. You're learning. And we're all learning, and this is a platform that's going to help all of us learn how to live in a life that's effective, because that's what it's all about, right? Living an effective life. I guarantee you, life is beautiful. Life is love. God is love. Let's do it.
So wouldn't you, as a mother or a father, only want the best for your children? Wouldn't you want your child to settle? Would you want your child to settle for just anything, or would you want them to settle for the best that you can possibly give them?
The best.
So now you only want to give them the best. So sometimes we think back to our childhood and how we got disciplined. You know, we felt pain, whether physical or emotional, from our parents, and we get frustrated, angry, or upset at them. But it is later we realize that it's actually for something better or something greater, or our parents are just protecting us from something else. So to understand this, we're going to look into 4 different points and stories from the Bible. So the first point is protection. So firstly, when the father sees you heading into a troubled situation, he tends to warn you and protect you from something. So he knows that if you receive what you are asking for at that exact moment, it may affect you or break you in the end. So now God only wants to protect you from it. So sometimes our plans and his plans don't match up. And that's not because he doesn't care for you or love you, but the complete opposite, because he truly does love you and truly does care for you. So for example, if you just ask for wealth or money, if you receive that right now, you're going to be going to go off track with God. So your foundation is, you're firstly trying to solidify yourself in Christ, on the rock. Now, if you bring something else into that when you're not ready for it, you're going to turn from that. You're going to try and solidify your foundation on sand instead of on rock. So you will surround yourself, all your happiness, all your joy, all your love, you're going to put onto that materialistic item or that thing that you've always wanted for or prayed for or hoped for. So now God knows the beginning from the end, and he knows the outcome before you even, receive what you're receiving. He knows what's going to happen. So he wants to protect you and he doesn't want to harm you. So if you know that your child is going the wrong path, wouldn't you redirect him to avoid that harm and to protect him from something? If you know that whatever he's going to take, whatever he's going to go, it's going to cause him harm, wouldn't you want to try and stop him and redirect his ways? So now, then we start to really blame him because we don't receive it at that point. We start doubting him and asking, why am I going through this or not receiving it? And we get hurt. So God's protection is seen in Job's life. So, Job lost pretty much everything. And even though Job, he lost his faith in the protection of his children, causing him to suffer through many trials as a result of, the attack of the enemy. So it was God who drew that line where Satan couldn't interfere past. And Satan was only limited to doing as much as God really allowed him to do, and nothing more than that. So because of this, Job suffered a lot of pain and misery and afflictions, but God was simply protecting him from greater harm happening. And God also protected his faith during that trial. Now, Job couldn't exactly see what was going on, but it's later that he realized that God's protection was sure and faithful. Secondly is the timing of God. So now we start to get annoyed saying, why can't I get that job promotion now? Why can't I get married now? Why can't I find this person? Why can't I find that person now? And this can create all sorts of emotions. So you start worrying and you start stressing out, you get anxious, and you even start to become a bit envious or jealous. Why did that guy get a job promotion, not me? Why did she get a scholarship? Why didn't I get it? He's getting married. Well, why is nothing working out for me? But God says, if we open up to Galatians 6:9, so if we keep our faith strong and, we continue to do good in the eyes of God and, don't doubt him, in the season of harvest, we will reap and receive. Now, we often try to take things into our own hands and try to use our ability instead of God's ability. So this is seen in the story of Abraham and Sarah. So Abraham was carrying a burden of not having any children. Now, Abraham complains to God, he doesn't have any offspring to call his own. Now, God made a promise to him saying that he will indeed have a son of his own. At that point, Abraham asked God for it and believed and had faith and that his prayer will be fulfilled. So he had faith that he's going to receive it. Now, Abraham and Sarah became impatient on the wait over time, and they decided to take things into their own hands. So Sarah went ahead and told Abraham to go to the servant to bear his child. So instead of waiting for that perfect gift from God, Abraham took a sinful and adulterous version of that gift. And it's not exactly what God intended or promised to him. But it's later that Abraham realized that God does keep his promise. Because later he did receive a son of his own, Isaac. So you can go for what's good in your eyes or wait for God's best. So how can we relate to Abraham in our own lives? What have we been praying for or waiting on, or become impatient and want to make rash decisions, become angry and frustrated? God has promised you a house, but instead of waiting, you settle to the first one you see straight away or think is right. God has promised you a wife or a husband, but just because you're impatient, you lower your standards and try and form a relationship with someone that does not fear God. We don't have the ability to grant ourselves good gifts, but every good and perfect gift is from above. So we don't have the ability to grant ourselves good gifts, but every good and perfect gift is from above. So it's really easy at that time to lose hope in God and in waiting for it. And we fall back into our emotions and try to take things into our own abilities. Just because you see no signs or nothing is happening does not mean God isn't working on it. Just because you see no signs or you see that nothing is happening, it does not mean that God isn't working on it. For we walk by faith and not by sight. God is always working for us and will deliver those gifts at the appropriate time. Now, thirdly is the readiness. Are you actually ready for it? Are you trained for it? Does your skills match the criteria to enter that particular level or position? Does your skills and qualifications match the criteria for that particular job? Can everyone open up to 1 Corinthians 3:2? So, when you apply, let's say if you apply for a new job, they're not going to promote you to a CEO straight away. Aren't you going to start as a regular employee first before promoting you? How can you be given the position of a CEO when you don't have the required skills or qualifications to obtain that position? You're going to ruin the flow of the company name, and at the same time ruin yourself. So you're going to ruin the flow of the company name, and you're going to ruin yourself. All at the same time. Now, another example is, would you feed a newborn baby meat? It is not ready or matured to be able to eat meat. So if you feed a baby meat, it's obviously going to choke and cause harm to the baby. So we start off with giving milk, soft food, and then when it's ready, we give it meat. So that job promotion we've been hoping for, that car we've always wanted, that person we've always been praying for, or that materialistic item that we've always been, wanting but haven't gotten. Why didn't you get it? Not because he doesn't love you and doesn't want to gift you, but because you are simply not ready for that yet. That you may stray away from him, that you may differ your tracks. It may harm you whether physically or mentally. And he knows the end from the beginning. And another example is giving a 3-year-old kid a laptop for his birthday. The laptop itself may be a good gift in general, but is it really suited for a 3-year-old? It's, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to maintain it. They don't know how to use it to its full potential. So they're just going to end up, breaking it or destroying it. You wait till that kid matures, learns, and has an understanding and experience before it is gifted to him. It's the same way with God. He's not going to give you something that you're not prepared or ready to have. Why would he give something that when he knows that you're going to mess it up if you receive it without being trained and matured for it? He knows the desires of our hearts before we even tell him. So Proverbs 16:9. Why he would give you something when he knows that you're going to mess it up if you receive it without being trained and matured for it. But he knows the desires of our hearts before we even tell him.